Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. So after 14 years of playing Age of Empires 2, I now have a pretty good grip of what's worth it when it comes to units, technologies, civilizations, and generally speaking, I know what the best options are in any given circumstance. However, I've been wrong several times over the years, and here is another one of those cases where I feel like I've been wrong. I've changed my mind about this upgrade, and in the past I would say that it's completely useless, you should basically never get it. I personally never got it, and I would advise everyone else to do the same. However, today, years later, I now have a completely different opinion on it. I think that the upgrade has a place in the game, it's worth picking up at a certain point, and although it has a somewhat high cost, I think it's justified because of the value that it brings. But the value is a little bit complicated to calculate, and in this video I'm going to try to break it down. The tech I'm talking about, some of you may have already guessed, is Town Patrol. Town Patrol is a vision technology which is researched at the Town Center, and it's unlocked after Town Watch, the upgrade that precedes it. Town Watch and Town Patrol both have the exact same effect, but the cost is drastically higher for Town Patrol, which is kind of where the debate comes as to whether or not you should pick it up. Town Watch and Town Patrol have the same effect of buildings get +4 line of sight. So what this means in an example is if a house has vision that goes in 2 tiles in all directions, so in a circle, if you get Town Watch, that would be now 4 tiles extra in all directions. So in a circle, you'd have the 2 tiles +4, 6 tiles. If you get Town Patrol, another 4 tiles. So that house is now having a circular vision of 10 tiles, which is pretty huge because 10 tiles in all directions is a substantial amount of vision to cover. And that's just the house. An outpost can get you much more than that. A tower can get you much more than that. Same with the castle. So these vision upgrades can really help you get extra information in the late game. Now, when it comes to the higher cost for Town Patrol, you might think you're getting a little bit scammed because it's the same effect, but it costs more. However, this is actually pretty normal for upgrades in Age of Empires 2, and it's actually good game design. Like for example, in the blacksmith, the first armor upgrade on knights gives the same effect as the second, but the second upgrade costs an extra 100 food and an extra 150 gold, and it also takes longer to research. This is because when you add effects on top of each other, they get exponentially good. If you have 1 armor and your opponent does 3 damage, your opponent will now be doing 2 damage. But if you have 2 armor, your opponent is now going to do 1 damage with that 3 attack hit, cutting his damage in half, which is a huge increase. So that's why upgrades getting more expensive for the same effect is actually not really a scam, and it definitely makes sense when you consider the compounded effect of both upgrades stacked on top of each other. And the same is true when it comes to Town Patrol. You get the same +4 from Town Watch stacked on top of the +4 of Town Watch, so you get +8, and that is a huge jump from the 0 before both upgrades. Now, Town Watch costs 75 food and Town Patrol costs 300 food and 100 gold. And I'm pretty sure it used to cost 300 food and 200 gold, and it may have been reduced. It may have gotten a buff by reducing the cost of the gold, which makes it a little bit easier to justify now. So first, let's talk about my reasoning as to why this upgrade was just not worth it and why I deemed it useless for many years. So my reasoning was that the high cost made it too hard to justify, and having the gold attached to it made it hard to afford in the late game, when gold is a crucial resource and it's very scarce. If it runs out in the field, you have to rely on relics or market, or in team games you can rely on trade. But besides that, you have no way to get gold once it runs out on the map. However, the more I play late game and the more games of Age of Empires that I play in general, the more I realize that outposts are insane, and vision control is so crucial for controlling the pace of the game. Controlling the pace of the game means that you're controlling the raids, you're sending in your army first, you're also picking the fights, you're also spotting enemy raids, and you can really dictate where you shift your army, where you want to force your opponent to fight. It's really a huge advantage that's hard to quantify. For example, if I've got 5 knights extra in my army, so 15 knights compared to 10 knights for my opponent, it's very easy to quantify that advantage. I will win that fight by a landslide because I've got, a third more army. However, when it comes to having more vision than your opponent, it's really hard to decide if, that's a really big advantage, a minor advantage, or, somewhere in the middle. It's hard to quantify how good it is. For example, Town Watch and Feudable will set you back 1 villager and 75 food. 1 villager because you need to research it from the town center, so it takes up the slot of 1 villager. So you're down 1 villager and you're also down 75 food for paying for Town Watch. That's a big cost. To be honest with you, being down a vill is not a cheap thing in feudal age. However, if getting Town Watch spots the 10 archers from your enemy that are sneaking around to your wood line, which could kill upwards of 5 villagers easily if you do not stop it and react in time, then I would say that Town Watch clearly paid off, because the 1 villager that set you back and the 75 food now saved you 5 villagers and potentially a lot of idle time. On the flip side though, if it doesn't spot any sneaks, you may think it's a waste, but I would actually argue that it gave you a sense of security and allowed you to make better choices with your army. Remember, more information of your opponents and more information of the map lets you make better decisions and better choices. So even if you don't necessarily save a bunch of your villagers and have this hero moments with, the vision, it still gives you a sense of, ease, and and it lets you kind of choose where you want to be with your army. You don't need to defend because you got a good amount of vision, so you can maybe go for the offense, go for the attack, and you might get some value and some nice wins that way. Now that's Town Watch. Let's talk about Town Patrol in Imperial Age. Now the 300 food and 100 gold cost, in my opinion, is quite negligible if you really think about it. In the past, I was definitely, a little bit skeptical about paying gold for this upgrade, but in reality, that's roughly 1 Paladin and 3 Hussars, or that's 2 Arbalest and 4 Hussars. Considering most armies consist of 50 to 70 units in the average late game, a small band of 5 units isn't going to be a deal breaker. However, spotting the enemy army and having more vision on the map might be game changing. Spotting your enemy movement of 60 army, siege weapons, halberdiers, arbalest, whatever the case may be, spotting where that's moving, where he's gonna pressure, where he's gonna raid with his Hussars, where he's gonna send his Paladins, all of that has a very big effect on late game because it allows you to react to where your opponent's going. It allows you to get to the hill faster, before he gets there. It allows you to fortify a defensive position before he sets up his siege. It allows you to do a lot of things in advance, helping you prepare for your opponent's movement. And that information edge over your opponent is crucial because your opponent might not know that you're spotting his movements. He might not know that he is going to be attacking a certain area. And so being able to surprise your opponent with strengthened defense and potentially counterplay his offense is a very, very strong advantage. So combining this tech with outposts everywhere on the map is basically like getting spies for 20 gold cheaper in late game. Outposts already have a ton of vision, and if you get Town Patrol on top of it, you basically see the entire screen as soon as you drop an outpost. And dropping multiple outposts on the sides of the map, as well as a few in the center, really gives you vision of the entire thing. The only thing you're missing is your opponent's like 3 TC boom with a couple defensive castles in his base. That's the only thing you're probably not going to get vision of. But if you get vision of the entire rest of the map, you're going to see your opponent's advances, you're going to see your opponent's upgrades on his army, you're going to see your opponent's military buildings, you're going to see his forward castle placements, you're going to see his expansions, you're going to see literally everything, which is so crucial. And the more I play, the more I realize how important it is to stop your opponent from expanding, to shut down his plays, and to keep him locked into one area of the map. And this is really what Town Patrol enables. It's the first step to locking down your opponent. So, okay, I've had a change of heart on this technology. Listen, where do I stand now? That's what people want to know. So my advice now is to not rush this technology in early game. That is not what I'm saying. It's not a priority. You don't get it first thing in Castle Age because Hera made a video about it. You don't pick it up as a priority. So it's not a priority tech because at the end of the day, listen, if we get this tech, but our army can't match the enemy army, then seeing the enemy army earlier does not change anything. It's like, oh man, 60 paladin running towards me.
I'm on the job.
Sir, help.
What is it?
Help.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my
do
gosh.
something. Do something.
Hold on.
What the f are you doing?
I'm watching.
You're just watching.
Then job well done on my behalf, because that's what I'm doing. That's what I do.
You f***ing kidding
Now,
me?
if I wasn't watching, I'd be letting the town down, letting this neighborhood down, letting myself down, but I'm not doing that. I'm watching, I'm doing my job.
I just got robbed. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did, Denise.
Thank you so much.
What the fuck?
Just doing my job.
What the hell's going on here?
You're the best.
Well, that's awkward. I have only 20 Arbalest. I'm not gonna be able to fight that. Okay, obviously it's an exaggeration. It only costs 400 res, but the point still stands. We should upgrade our army first. We should get our army on the field first. That is the priority, not Town Patrol. Town Patrol is a luxury for me. It's something that helps you once you've already set up, because we need to make sure our army is, able to match our opponents. We need to make sure our army is, strong enough, has the upgrades necessary, has the mass necessary. And then once we have that, we can start looking for the luxuries. For me, the sweet spot seems to be once you hit 200 pop and you start floating a few hundred extra resources. That is when you should pick up Town Patrol. And this advice applies to 1v1 and team games alike. The only exception to this rule, I would say, is if you don't have trade set up in team game, or if you don't have any relics in 1v1, because in that case, the cost of 100 gold might be way too high. But if you got even one relic, or if you got some trade set up in team games, I would then go ahead and pay for this Town Patrol upgrade. I think it's worth it. And I think especially for beginners, it's going to help you understand how to play late game a bit better. It's going to make playing late game a lot easier because you have just more information at hand. And let's be honest, you guys are floating like 10,000 food anyway. Get that market, sell 1,000 food, and just pay for the upgrade. It's not going to hurt you. So once again, the sweet spot, you hit 200 pop, float a few hundred extra resources, and then you pick up Town Patrol. And I would really put this tech on the same level as Murder Holes, which I've also made a video about that I highly recommend you check out. So Murder Holes, like Town Patrol, is a luxury in the late game. It's worth picking up once you've set up. Murder Holes gives you a nice advantage that you don't have to worry about the base of your castles. In any sticky situation, your opponent can't snipe castles with his with its paladin, with its champions and whatnot. And Town Patrol helps you spot enemy units further away. It helps give you that sense of security, and it gives you all of the other benefits that we've talked about in this video. And really, that feels like the best way to use this technology. I've already been practicing using this technology in this exact way in some of the viewer TGs we've been playing on stream, and some of the 1v3s and 1v4s that I've been playing, for YouTube that you guys have been seeing. And if you guys have been paying attention, I have been trying to get this tech in Imperial Age once I'm 200 pop, and it's been working very nicely. I now realize that my outposts are getting even more value. I now feel like I can spot raids coming a lot earlier. The game is easier to play, and it just feels like it's so much smoother to play with Town Patrol than without. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised it took me so long to come to this conclusion. This really does feel like an obvious conclusion that, I don't know, I think I was just being a little too stingy before at the 100 gold cost. Or if I was right and they did nerf it, or sorry, they did lower the cost from 200 gold, I think that makes a little bit more sense why former me was a bit skeptical, because 200 gold is a bit harder to justify. 100 gold, I would say, is a bit negligible. So that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys agree with me and my new assessment of Town Patrol, let me know in the comments. If you guys disagree, also let me know in the comments, and maybe I missed something. So if you guys think that you have a different perspective on this tech, definitely let me know. I love to learn and grow along with you guys, and I've actually learned a lot of things about the game through comment sections on both YouTube and live chat on Twitch. So I do appreciate your opinions, and I do read most of the comments, pretty much all the comments really, if you have got the time. And as always, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys want more content from me, check out my Patreon for extensive guides and exclusive content. You can check out the builders there as well. I've got a video for each one. It's a nice PDF document. It's beautiful. And if you guys want to join me on the live stream, which I do insist that you guys come on down from YouTube to the live stream, it's going to be on Twitch. Both links to Twitch and Patreon are going to be in the description below. Highly recommend you check them out. And that's going to be it for the video. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and peace.